it's Milana Mil and welcome to another video, and this time I'm gonna be doing a simple sketch patch where I draw simple sketches of different poses because I've noticed that I've been focusing so much on learning the painting because that's been huge trouble for me. So I kind of feel like I've been slacking on my anatomy, and that really bothers me for a lot of reasons, especially because I've noticed that drawing has become really hard for me. Like, I spend too much time in sketching because I just fix the anatomy and it still doesn't turn out good. The anatomy itself is not like a huge problem, but they just turn so stiff. It feels like there's no natural flow in the body. It's kind of just like, boxes and stuff like that. Like, I feel like I'm focusing too much on the sort of simplified like form of the body instead of the body itself. Kind of like you have those mannequins, those those anatomy dolls, those things that are made out of wood. Yeah, I used to have one of those and they suck. Like, you cannot even bend that shit. It's just like, this thing is useless. I mean, I purchased this. I was like, yay, I can learn, anatomy and twist this person. And then I realized that this guy doesn't even twist. Like, you can barely raise their hand or something. Anyway, mini rant over. I found that I would do a kind of similar thing that I did back in the school. So basically, when I was still at school, which I got kicked out, kinda. I mean, I should have left, but I sort of also was kicked out. Whatever. My life is not very good. Anyway, back in the school, we used to do, we did have like drawing lessons. So what we would occasionally do is that we would have model and then we would have a time limit, say 10 minutes to 5 minutes to 2 minutes, and you had to draw the person within that time limit. So I decided to do something kind of similar, except for the fact that for this video, I don't really have a model. I'm not using anything for the poses. I'm just going with the, going with the flow, really. But I also, I'm sorry, my voice is running out. I don't know why. Anyway, I decided to do so that I would avoid fixing my works too much, and I would try to do them as fast as possible. So instead of spending like, 30 minutes on trying to get one pose, I would just spend few minutes to scribble the poses that I just think on the whim. Like, I pretty much create them as I go, but I remember when I was at school, my teacher actually told me that the faster I did things, the better they actually got. So it was, so it seems like my biggest weakness is when I spend too much time on certain things. My works actually looks a lot better when I spend like 2 minutes. So I was like, okay, if my weakness, which I've noticed that the more and more I spend time on trying to get the perfect anatomy, the worse it actually looks, then I figured out, well, I'm gonna do kind of what I did back in the school. So I'm just gonna let loose, relax, not take this as serious, and just try to do this kind of fast pose patch, sketch patch, whatever thingy, and just, have fun, relax, try different poses. And, personally, I actually feel like it's really good practice that people should do. If you feel lost with your anatomy, or you feel that you have the same issue as I do with having stiff poses and stuff, then maybe just setting a time limit for yourself. doing figure studies or gesture studies, just not, limit the time that you allow yourself to use on a certain drawing. And when you limit yourself, you kind of you force yourself to work really fast, and you usually also force your brain and your eyes to see the most basic form of the body instead of focusing on the details. And in the end, the form is or maybe actually more important than the anatomy itself. Of course, the anatomy is super important, but even if you have really good anatomy, if your poses are like super stiff, then that's not gonna look good. So you gotta focus on the form. And there was something else, but I think I forgot. Wait, what was it? I was supposed to say something. But yeah, that's I'm sorry, my voice is really, really running out. I'm trying my best to to speak. I don't know, maybe I'm sick or something, which would not surprise me at all. But yeah, that's what I decided to do for these ones. And yeah, now I remember the thing I was supposed to talk about. One of my biggest issues that I've noticed lately is shoulders. And it's actually kind of funny because I've heard, like, I know that many other artists have the exact same problem. Like, it's the funny thing is that shoulder area is actually kind of simple. Like, when you compare stuff like torso or chest or feet or hand, they're kind of complicated things to draw. But the shoulder area, where the neck and the whole fucking shoulder area, okay, you get what I'm trying to say. It's so simple to draw, yet for some reason it's so easy to make it like really stiff, and it's so easy to fail on that. And I've noticed that my works have had the same issue, especially if I try to make the sort of pose where the one or both of the shoulders are kind of raised up, but yet not to make it seem like the person is frozen or something. I found it to be really hard, and I don't know why. And that's also one of the reasons why I decided to do this pose practice, and I especially tried to kind of focus on shoulders, but I also tried to focus on the form of the body instead of being binded by rules, like the sort of, I just kind of focus on form. Okay, that's what I'm doing. I'm just, the very basic things that makes the body, the flow, instead of breaking every part of the body into its own shape, which I usually do, like, which is ball modeling, which I normally do. I decided to not do it here because I just wanted to, not get bound by the rules. Is that binded? Binded by the rules. I think that's the correct way to say that. Yes. I'm a genius. Or I could be. Let's just go with that. Anyway, I also decided to do a mermaid for one reason, because I was running out of ideas. Don't tell anyone. But also because I just love the tail. Like, you could admit, drawing mermaids is great because of the tail, because you can just kind of make them anything you want. Anything at all. But needless to say, if you're having similar problems that I do, let me know. If you have any kind of problems, I want to know. And also, I suggest that you really try it out and try to set a time limit. And if you can, try to do the sort of 10 to 5 to 2 minute practices. They're really, really helpful. But anyway, this video is basically ready, so bye bye!